Hello and welcome to Canguro English. My name is Christian and today is Wednesday, the best day of the week. Today I'm going to be answering some of your questions about grammar and vocabulary and lots of other things. And the first question is this. I've found a sentence as follows. Could be the milk is run. If I remember, we have to use run out. Is it correct to say only run? This is a great question, and the answer to this question is all about polysemy. So, polysemy is how one verb can have lots of different meanings. And in fact, run is one of the verbs in English that has the most possible meanings. You can go for a run in the park, and you can also run a company. So the verb has lots and lots and lots of different meanings. But when we add a particle onto the end, like in or out or through or over, we transform this verb into a phrasal verb. And then it has even more meanings. So we could say quite confidently that run and run out are two different verbs. This one here has lots and lots of meanings, and this one here also has lots of different meanings. And one of these meanings means that something is completely finished. No more. It's gone. I had some milk, but now I have run out of milk. My battery on my phone has run out. Why out? Well, the beautiful thing, and another reason I love this question, is because in English we have these prepositions like out and in and over and through, and these prepositions have quite specific meanings. Again, various meanings, but quite specific meanings, and the meanings are based on metaphor and metaphor. So when something is out, okay, so imagine that we have a container. Okay, we have a container of money. We have a container of milk. We have a container of pizza, right? And then that thing, okay, that object that we have, it moves out of the container. Well, we don't have it. It's gone. It's disappeared. And that's why run out means to not have any more milk. Next question. After watching one of your live classes on YouTube, Christian, I've realized that I've been pronouncing the word iron incorrectly all my life. I'd like to know more about this word and its origins in order to understand why the letter R is silent in this word and we pronounce it like ion. Well, this is another awesome question, because to answer this question, we have to talk about the history of English, and we also have to talk about phonology, about sounds, right? So I'm going to tell you something that maybe is a little bit surprising, okay? This brid, this is the original Old English word for bird. You know, the thing that flies in the sky? It didn't used to be bird, it used to be brid. But over time, these two letters, they changed position. Not letters, these two sounds changed position. And exactly the same thing is happening in reverse with our word iron. So originally the pronunciation was iron, okay? But then over time what's happening is they're moving position. It's becoming I-O-R-N, iron. And this changing of the position of sounds in English is called metathesis. And it's really common. It's something which happens all the time, not just in English, but in lots of different languages. And we need to ask why. Why does this happen? And part of the clue is that it mostly happens with the letter R and the letter L. So there's something specific happening, and there's this great paper by Elizabeth Hume that explains all of the factors that contribute to this sound changes. So we have perception, audio recognition, production, coordination and aerodynamics, generalization, cognitive categories, and conformity in the communication of society. So basically, the first reason this happens is because some sound combinations are easier to perceive for humans, right? And the second part of that is that some sound combinations are easier to produce. So we have this production-perception fight between brid and bird, between iron and iron. And then the second part is generalization, right? Maybe there's not a lot of words that sound similar to brid, right? But there's a lot of words in a similar category that sound like bird. So over time, this word changes to be similar to all of the other words in that category. And then the final part, conformity. I start saying it differently, and then you start saying it differently too because you hear me doing it, and then society in general conforms, and then suddenly, a few hundred years later, it's not a brid, it's a bird. That's the magic of language change. Next question. Hello guys, I wonder if there's any difference between reflecting on or upon something and pondering on or over something. What seems strange to me is that although they share the same preposition on, they also have upon and over, which are different and not interchangeable. Also, there's to think about or think of something. Are of and about interchangeable here? Now, the reason I love this question is because, again, it brings us back to metaphor. And so much of language is about metaphor and understanding these deep meanings, the deep logic of how humans think and how humans act helps us to understand the language. So let's look at these four possibilities with the verb think, right? So we can think on something, we can think over something, we can think of, and we can think about. Now these prepositions have specific meanings. On is about contact. Think on. So when we're thinking on something, basically our brain is making contact with that idea. It's here in our mind. I'm thinking on a recipe to cook tonight. My mind is in contact with the idea. Over. Over. Look at this movement, right? It's about this beautiful arcing action. And it repeats, okay? It repeats over and over and over, right? So when we think over something, that's what we're doing. We think about it, and then we think about it again, and then we think about it again. We are reflecting, we're reflecting over this idea, over and over. There's this idea of this kind of repetition, which is very, very similar to about. About. About means around, right? Here's our idea, and we're moving about or around. There's synonyms, okay? So when you're thinking about something, or you're thinking around something, yeah, it's this idea, again, of this circle, okay? But instead of thinking like this, instead of thinking like this circle, we're thinking in this circle. But again, it's the repetition, it's something physical, right? It's a physical metaphor. And finally, of. Think of. Of talks about a part of something bigger, right? This is made of plastic. This is made of glass and metal. This is made of wool, right? But this does not represent all of the wool in the universe, right? It is wool, but it's made of wool, okay? Part of wool is here. Part of the concept of wool exists here. And it's the same thing. When we think of an idea, we are taking this piece, okay? This piece of something bigger. This piece of the idea, right? So we are creating this new thing from something bigger. It's about creation, transformation, innovation. Now I sound like a Rastafari. Creation, innovation. And the final question. I created a YouTube channel all about anything under the sun. I avoid speaking in English since I'm not confident with my grammar. In fact, I experienced someone calling my English rubbish. But from now on, I'll try to create more videos with English subtitles, or will actually speak English so I can further improve my skills. Because of this pandemic, I realized that life is too short, and if we want something, we need to start doing it. Otherwise, it will be too late. This isn't really even a question. This is a statement of intent. It's somebody taking that first step towards fluency and saying, I don't care what you think, because I have something that I want. My objective is to learn English. And I'm not going to make excuses about I don't have a speaking partner. I don't live in America. There's no native speakers around me. I don't have time. Okay? This person has decided to put videos out there on the internet that maybe no one will watch. One person, two person, maybe their mum or their dad or their boyfriend or whatever, right? Who benefits from this activity? Is it the world at large? Maybe. Probably not. The person that benefits from this activity is them. The person who makes the effort to actually use their English to do stuff. And that to me is an example of somebody who gets it, right? Somebody who knows that the key to fluency, the secret to fluency is just practice. You're not going to get better at speaking from reading a book about speaking. You're not going to improve your listening skills by reading a book about listening. Okay? We have to do these things. It's that simple. And I know I've said it before. And I will be saying it 1,000 times more until everybody hears me. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's question and answer session. This is Canguro English. I'm Christian, and I'll see you in class.